State lawmakers hear the plight of the Michigan farmer. 2019 wheat variety trial results are in, and Michigan Agricultural Commodities Chris Betts has your market report. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Farmers from across the state gave state lawmakers a first-hand account of how difficult the spring planting season and subsequent summer drought has been during a recent joint hearing of the State House and Senate Ag Committees.
But with the rain that we have had in this year, approximately 2/3 of my operation is not planted. We took prevent plant, so it's a huge impact on our operation. And because of this rain, the economic impact is going to be far-reaching, and it's going to last for years, because it also impacts the entire ag industry, because it deals with impacts the people I deal with every day. The equipment dealers. This spring, I wasn't in the field. I wasn't doing anything, so I wasn't breaking anything, so I was not purchasing parts. I wasn't calling them for service. That impacts them. As for the seed dealers, they delivered seed. Then the seed got returned, so there was no economic value to them for the work that they did. As for the fertilizer dealers, the chemical dealers, the amount of product that they sold, went out, got returned because the crop wasn't planted. Our local co-ops, our service centers are going to be carrying fertilizer over till next year. Myself personally, I have 27,000 gallons of storage capacity on our farm. It's full with this year's fertilizer, which I'm going to carry over till next year. I also have fertilizer that's pre-purchased that is sitting in Toledo and Weberville, which I have the privilege of now paying storage on, because we did not get the crop in that we had intended.
I don't think people realize, they won't realize until they get to the grocery store this fall and their tortilla chips are expensive and can't figure out why. It's because there's no corn to make them. I mean, they're going to see groceries go up, and they're going to wonder why, and then they're going to have to think back, or somebody's going to have to remind them what kind of spring we had and then what kind of summer we've had without any rainfall.
As a legislator, it's so important that we have the opportunity to hear firsthand from those that are directly impacted in the challenging time that Michigan agriculture is facing. So it was exciting to see the turnout of my colleagues, of the senators and representatives that serve on agriculture committees, their willingness to come to the table and listen, the stakeholders that were able to step up, step forward and share their personal stories, and the media attention that this is bringing. It's elevating the story that needs to be heard.
If you want a car from a company that's been building them for 115 years, get a Ford. If you want a car with driver assist technology, get a Ford. You're gonna want a Ford.
Michigan farmers who are making management decisions for planting wheat this fall can now view results of the 2019 wheat variety trials. During the 2018-2019 growing season, research plots were planted at the MSU Research Farm and on private farmland in Gratiot, Ingham, Huron, Lenawee, Sanilac, and Tuscola counties.
Well, the reason why we conduct these trials here at Michigan State University is it's a way for farmers to get third-party, non-biased, kind of scientific approach to getting yield trial data for the varieties that they may be considering to grow on their farm. So we partner with all these testing companies. They provide lines to us, and then we do this testing, report the results to farmers so that they can then have good data to make decisions about what varieties to plant on their farm. I was expecting some lower yields, maybe around average, but honestly our lowest test site average was 92 bushel yield and our highest was 110. And so I was quite surprised by the yields that we had. I didn't believe that we could get that in a year like we had. There was even a few plots in a couple of the locations where we were hitting in the 130s for yields. That was the biggest surprise to me. And overall, what I've heard from growers is vomitoxin has not been a big issue. Sprouting was not a big issue this year as well. So quality was pretty good as well, not just the yields. I think the biggest thing that contributed to the higher yield than expected was the cool, wet spring that we had. We probably could have done without a little bit of the moisture that we had, but the cold temperatures really allowed that wheat to develop and tiller out, where even in the fall where you had kind of a poor stand, even early planted wheat didn't develop very well in the fall. But that cool spring that we had delayed development, which allowed it more time to tiller, which increases your yield potential. And that was probably the biggest surprise and the biggest contributor to the additional yield that we're seeing.
For the 7th consecutive year, the Michigan Wheat Program has partnered with Michigan State University to have a high management component as part of the MSU Wheat Performance Trials.
Each year we do what we call a conventional management versus a high management, and the idea is to identify, are there varieties that respond to management more than others? So if I'm planting a crop and I'd say I don't want to put a lot of inputs into it, what are the varieties I should be choosing? I want ones that I don't need the high management inputs in order to get a high yield. So we conducted that trial for all 108 varieties that we tested. So we have the high management results and the low management results. And the overall average over all of those was about 11.7 bushel increase for that increased input.
View the full 2019 Wheat Variety Trials report online or in the August 30th edition of the Michigan Farm News.
If you owe or are owed, please don't overlook legal counsel when addressing agribusiness collection challenges. Each situation is unique. Visit fosterswift.com for more information.
The first ever Farm Drainage Field Day is scheduled for next month in Lenawee County. Hosted by the Michigan Land Improvement Contractors Association and Michigan State University Extension, the Field Day will be offered September 12th and 13th. Speakers will discuss conventional and controlled drainage, drainage water recycling, cover crops, and soil health. Participants will have the opportunity to earn certified crop advisor credits for soil and water management. And now with a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betts.
Thanks, Janelle. Negative news late in the week as China announced that it will be imposing an additional 5% tariff on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods, including oil, autos, and soybeans. The tariffs are set to be rolled out in 2 waves, the first at the beginning of September and the second mid-December. This will be an increase to existing tariffs and are in retaliation to the latest 10% U.S. tariff on $300 billion worth of Chinese goods. Yield results from crop tours this week came in below the latest USDA figures, but have gone unnoticed by the trade. Forecasts remain largely favorable for crop development in key areas, and escalating trade tensions will continue to lend pressure. For more market information, go to michag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.